Katie Haycock is president of the Education Trust. Tom Gentzel is executive director of the National School Boards Association.
Okay.
Dallas Dance, and I forgot to tell you, there are no assigned seats. I'm sorry. Dallas Dance is superintendent of the Baltimore County School District, and Maeve Ward is the senior program officer at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
My name is Helen Ballard. I'm the executive director for the Mid-Aiming Higher, a nonprofit for Learning Center. We deal with students in a K through 12 SAT and GED preparation. My question to the panel, anyone can answer this, is what are we doing to actually infuse a better collaboration with our teachers feeling confident about the Common Core and their abilities to implement it in their classrooms?
You mentioned collaboration in your question, which is so important because we hear from teachers consistently that more than anything else, besides maybe more time in the day, is that collaboration is what they want, opportunities to collaborate. And the Common Core provides just that. It provides opportunities to collaborate across states, across school districts. It provides opportunities for teachers in rural districts to connect with teachers in other rural districts. So we need to focus on making the most of those opportunities instead of the political questions that we're talking about. You know, teachers are trying to prepare their classrooms. They're tired of being pawns in a political debate. We need to give them the supports they need to make that the reality.
I think words are important, and so we know that the term Common Core has sort of taken on a life of its own, and I think that's a reality we have to deal with. But I think the other challenge is there's this sort of conflation of standards and curriculum. And I'm not sure, in fact, I am sure that we've not done a very good job of helping the public understand the difference. And this is that tension that I was talking about. It's very fair to expect that students, no matter where they live, have access to a quality education, that we have some standards that we're holding everybody to. But how we deliver that it needs to be something that's determined locally. I think most people would understand that. I think most people agree with that. So I think from a school board perspective, we have work to do in terms of helping people understand that difference and what we're trying to accomplish. Because if we don't answer that question, if we don't make that effort, then I think we allow others to define it. And clearly it's not being defined well.
I'm looking at the scorecard around education of this administration. And if you were to recommend to Arne Duncan how to get, before he leaves office, how to get an A from the C or the C minus that he's getting on this report, what would you recommend that the U.S. Department do differently to regain the confidence of the American public?
Well, let me jump in on that. Arne, I think it's a great question. There is certainly a feeling on the part of a lot of local school officials that the federal government is dictating what they should do. And in fact, the overreach issue, this is not a political statement, but I can just tell you, local school board members and superintendents that I talk to, Democrat and Republican, all over the country, there is this feeling that the federal Department of Education is well outside of its lane in terms of dictating what schools should be able to do, not even through the regular regulatory process, through things like Dear Colleague letters and other statements that are driving policy without even an opportunity for a full conversation. So that's number one. And I think secondly, there's a sense, when you go to places in this country where there are very small school districts, superintendent wears 4 or 5 different hats, they're not in the position to implement some of these policies in the same way that other districts might be. There's a very strong feeling that there's a bit of a tin ear at the Department of Education about the differences between and among school districts. The policy isn't flexible. So at some level, I think they're well motivated in what they're trying to do, I think in some of the initiatives. But the fact of the matter is, I think there's a fundamental disconnect between what they're saying and what they're directing school districts to do and how districts actually operate. So I think there needs to be much more flexibility and I think, frankly, respect for the role that local school officials play. I think they feel disrespected.